I've lived in Frederick County, Maryland for 7 years, so for me, Maryland is home. More specifically, the small urban area of Urbana south of Frederick is what I call home. Across Maryland, the environment faces the large problem of invasive species. And in Urbana, whether it is my school, my house, or the supermarket, invasive species are everywhere. The definition of an invasive species is any species, including its seeds, eggs, spores, or other biological material capable of propagating that species, that is not native to that ecosystem, and whose introduction does or is likely to cause economic or environmental harm or harm to human health. To sum it up, invasive species are dangerous to the local environment because they threaten local species, interfere with the overall ecosystem, and can easily become rampant and unstoppable. Several destructive invasive species in Maryland are the tree of heaven, Japanese beetles, Japanese stiltgrass, and stink bugs. These bugs and plants are highly destructive and have ravaged Maryland's ecosystem. There are many other invasive species in Maryland, but in my mind, these are most prominent. If uncontrolled on arrival, this is when these species become a problem. Controlling these species is very time-consuming, and it costs a lot of money for the government, not to mention the catastrophic impact on the local environment. Each of these species have specific impacts on the environment. For example, the tree of heaven is a tree from China which can grow in the harshest environments and rapidly spreads. In addition, it has toxins in its roots which stunt the growth of surrounding plants. This tree is so tough to kill, you can't kill it by cutting down. This tree is very harmful to native plants because it kills them off to make room for itself. To kill the tree, you have to rip it out of the ground when it's young by hand and then pour chemicals on the stump so it dies completely. Another invasive species, the Japanese beetle, an insect from Japan, is a very large problem in Maryland. The Japanese beetle is harmful because as a larva, as shown above, it destroys grass, and as an adult, it feeds on almost any plant it can find. This is another invasive species called English ivy. English ivy is a vine which suffocates trees and moves with rapid growth. It is very harmful to the environment. These are only 3 invasive species in detail, and there are many more. And this seems like a hopeless situation for Maryland, but there are solutions going on and planned for the future. There are a few simple solutions going on in Urbana. One of these includes using goats to clear vegetation during the springtime. They eat the undergrowth, which eliminates many invasive species. Other simple solutions to invasive species are creating awareness and being responsible when you go out into the environment. Simple things like this can limit and control the spread of invasive species. Besides these fairly straightforward solutions, there is another solution that at my elementary school, my 5th grade teacher, Jeff Esco, started to combat invasive species and to preserve the environment. My 5th grade teacher's idea was to build a wetlands behind our school. The wetlands also incorporated something called a riparian buffer. This riparian buffer is instrumental in the environment. A riparian buffer provides a habitat for numerous species, as well as filters water of chemicals and excess sediment. It is also responsible for bringing back many native species that have left the area due to urban development or loss of habitat. The wetlands behind our school filtered water, which flowed into a small creek. This creek flowed into the Monocacy River. The Monocacy emptied into the Potomac, and the Potomac emptied into the Chesapeake, which led into the Atlantic Ocean. Species such as the great blue heron, which the wetlands is named after, and the red fox have come back to Urbana because of the wetlands built behind my elementary school. So as you can see, invasive species have been a large problem in Maryland, but there are solutions, and these solutions are working. If we keep going with these solutions, invasive species can be cleared out of Maryland. Maryland's environment can be saved.